Here we are again, Echo.
Hi, lady. What's happening?
And we just had our first Playmate roundtable. So the first 2 Playmates, because we didn't start the show out with Playmates.
No, we started out interviewing very long-term employees at Playboy. Minimum 22 years, max 55 years.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, it's been fascinating.
Editors, staff writers, photographers. It's been phenomenal, and it speaks volumes to Hugh Hefner and the company and Playboy, the
and
living,
the
breathing
brand
it was.
Yeah. But here we are again, and it's not only.
It's not only Playmates.
I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, Echo.
I know. I'm the only one that's not.
I don't know if, German Playboy and all. This is serious.
This is a big deal. I know. Thanks for letting me in, ladies.
This is the creme.
The creme de la creme. Indeed.
It's a secret society.
Yes, it is. It's a total secret. So we're having our Playmate of the Year roundtable.
Yes.
And we have 2 phenomenal guests here. Gorgeous, of course, that haven't aged a day.
Legendary.
We have the very first Black Playmate of the Year, Renee Tenison. and legendary
1989, right?
I was Playmate 89
and PMOY
1990. Yeah, she's a 90s. She's a 90s girl. Yeah, you kind of had your foot in both. That is fascinating.
And right here, it also says 2001 was selected as one of the 10 sexiest women of the year by readers of Black Men magazine. Love it. Oh, and you wait.
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
we're gonna.
no.
Okay, cool. Let's start it over then.
But, cool. Oh, it was such a great intro. We can use some of that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
So just introduce her again.
We have with us 1990 Playmate of the Year. And wait, what month for night?
It was at 89. I was on the cusp between November.
Cusp. We were just saying she had her foot in
off into
the 80s and rolled right into the 90s. Very first Black Playmate of the Year, gorgeous Renee Tenison.
Woohoo!
Yes,
and then you redid your cover, and you as well, Brandy, and we'll get to that too, right?
We did an issue together, the equality issue.
Yes, the equality issue. But you reshot your cover, and I did. I have to say, your second go round, I thought was better than the first.
I did too.
It's like you get rid of your baby fat.
Yeah, it's true, right?
You're more distinguished. You're
exactly
a woman.
Yeah. You are.
Woman. Exactly.
Yeah, and those pictures actually from the equality issue. First time I saw them. Thanks for sending those, and they're going to be in our slideshow when we put this all together.
Cool.
Awesome pics. Love it. Fun. So like forward thinking. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for being here, Miss Renee.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you got it.
I got great company over here.
Yeah. And to our right, we've got the one and only Miss Brande Roderick. Playmate of the Year 2000?
2001.
Yes,
2001.
April 2000.
Okay.
Yep.
Incredible.
I remember meeting you right when you came in. I remember you actually, I was staying there and you're like, come on, we're going to go shopping. Come with us. And I was like,
exciting.
Mercedes.
But I know what's funny is now sitting here, even when we start talking about Playmates, so many memories of different.
Back.
I remember we coached. I just thought of this morning. When we coached those they were football players, the Playboy All-American team in Miami.
Oh, I remember.
In the sand volleyball court. I hadn't thought of that in 30 years. And there we were. It was hilarious. They were spiking the ball and couldn't play volleyball. And we were laughing so hard.
I remember I helped you with your makeup.
Yes,
remember?
I was a baby.
You were a baby, and you had something.
I didn't know how to walk in
heels. And you didn't know how to do her makeup.
I was like,
I'll help you.
She took me under her wing.
I took her under my wing. I was like, I'll help you, girl.
To me.
Yes, yes, she did. Nice. She's like, no, just do this. You need to do something with those brows.
You had the best brows, like the best.
Didn't we all though? I swear to God. And then you went into Playboy
out,
and
you pluck them too much.
I wish that they would grow.
I know.
I had a makeup artist completely destroy mine.
Your brows were like the best.
Oh, and somebody was like, no, we're going to thin them out.
Yeah. That was the thing back then. All because of PM, right? Yeah, the super thin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're right. It probably was her.
Yeah, it was definitely that.
Dang her.
Well, that wasn't her. It was Alexis.
We'll blame it on Alexis.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I was going through my photos when I was sending in, trying to find photos, and I was looking through stuff and I found do you remember we went to City of Hope to do that walk? I saw these pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, there's Corinna right there. And then I went back to try to find him and I couldn't find those darn pictures.
Oh.
But it was a 5K walk in Downey for City of Hope.
Yes.
And we did that together. We walked together. And I'm like, I totally forgot about that.
Isn't that bizarre? Yeah. So did I.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is
so
beautiful and things that we forget.
Yeah,
and
so I got to find those pictures.
Yes, please. And then she came to our screening of a film that that was years ago.
That was a long time ago.
That was so
fun. That
so
was
gracious
fun,
and kind of you to come to that.
Oh, well.
Support.
It was awesome. It was fun.
Well, we supported
and,
each other.
And Brandy, oh my gosh.
The Playmate Sisterhood.
Thinking of, yes.
So, wait. We're missing one PMOY.
Oh, yes.
Let us introduce.
Do I get an introduction?
Yes, absolutely.
I feel fancy.
This is Corinna Harney, my co-host. Playmate of the Year,
the short person in the room.
1991.
All of these beautiful statuesque.
Oh my
91 or 92? It's 1991.
I was 1992. Can you believe it?
And then a
Time
Playmate in
flies.
91.
Where does time go? Well, I mean,
You look exactly the same.
You do.
Look exactly the same.
Both of you better.
Well,
You both look better.
So actually, this is something that's come up quite a bit in the interviews that we've been doing, and it's that Hef knew, like he knew when he would pick a woman that there was going to be longevity there, and that they were going to maintain, they were going to be beautiful, and just even mature even
That's
more into
interesting.
being a beauty.
You're right.
And it is very true because every single
He picked
like we're
everyone.
pushing 50s and like
I know, right?
I remember I had to go, for PMOY. They were just like, Hef wants to have dinner with you because I was in contention for it. And they said he wants to make sure you're the one. And so then I remember I was so scared because I had to have.
So nervous.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I had to have dinner with Kimberly and him. And he was like, so tell me about yourself. And I remember I was just like, I was terrified.
Like,
but then he was like, he started singing like Someday Renee. And then he just started telling me all these things about Idaho.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, he made me feel like relaxed. So then I was able to just kind of talk. And then, but that was so cool. Like if you were chosen as Playmate of the Year, it meant something to him. He just didn't pick anybody.
Right. Was that your first one-on-one with him? Because that's one of our main questions.
Yeah, it was.
Is when you first met Hef. So it was already a profound moment.
It was because I remember Arnie Freitag had said when you shoot your centerfolds, he said yours came back with PMOY written across it. He goes, so that's a good sign. And I was like, really? And so then I went to LA to go, to the mansion and do my shoot and stuff because I had shot in Chicago. So then he said,
you both are Chicago girls.
I was in Chicago.
Yeah,
all my stuff
we were Chi-Town girls.
Yeah. So everything was shot in Chicago. So then when I came there, that's when they were like, Hef wants to meet you and see if you, like you can represent the company. So that's what's really good. Like when he did pick every girl, it truly was,
and he wanted to know who was going to be the face of that year, really. Yeah.
Well, I was told I was going to be at like 99% chance, and guess what? I didn't get it.
Who got that year?
Jenny McCarthy.
Oh, Jenny!
I know.
Why is she so special?
I heard she slipped away. I'm kidding. You know how everyone said.
No, but I was way too young to take on that role. I'm glad I didn't get that.
It's always such a bummer for the girl that doesn't get it.
Yes. Well, I remember being on a bus. I was going to ask you both, but you saying you kind of knew they had already been putting it in your ear because Hef was saying it.
Kimberly told you. She came up to you.
She said, "You're really my big."
It was you and Christina Liardini were walking.
Yeah,
and Kimberly tells her, and Christina
were
goes,
they the
"What
same
the
year?
fuck chop liver?"
No. That's not the story. We were walking by it was out to the game room, and Kimberly's walking with us, and she goes, "Corinna, you're just so angelic." And Christina goes, "Does that mean I'm like the devil?"
I liked her.
It was a beautiful moment. Was one of the ultimate,
she was
the
beautiful.
most beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Those eyes, man.
Gorgeous.
She was like,
Yeah.
I worked with her several times. I was mesmerized. She's like a snake.
Legendary.
I was mesmerized with her.
I'm
She's
telling you,
beautiful.
I slipped through the cracks. There were a few in my. I don't even get it. It definitely.
Well, it was because you're like the little doll.
They're like, you're this big. You're this big. We'll carry her around.
You were like, yeah.
Then I was, I think, that one of the very small. Yeah.
Petite, you had that look that, like a little angel, so I'm sure that's
that
what,
little
so funny.
So, quick question, submitted or discovered, both of you? Submitted?
My boyfriend or fiance at the time had told me he got Playboy, and then I was looking at the girls like Ava Fabian and Pam Stein and all Rebecca Ferrari, and he was like, "You could be one of these girls."
Nice.
Wow.
And so then I did some little photos and sent him in.
And Brandy?
Well, my boyfriend, I was with him and told him, I think I really want to try out to be a playmate. So then my boyfriend Hef said, okay, darling, go ahead and go try it out.
Yes, she does. Yeah, she has the best. She's got,
So, but I had to go in and do the whole test thing. I tested with Steve and Wada.
Oh my God.
And did all the, whatever. And so, because he's very serious about everything. So he had to see everything. And then, when he got the thing back, he said yes.
It was a done
deal. Very serious about. I love how she says that. Very serious about because
he had to look through all the things and make sure I was playmate material.
And you saw it up close and personal, and then from a totally different perspective than anyone, than most.
That I have to say I was at the mansion so much during those years, and it was so cool to watch Hef come out of, a 10-year marriage and to be able to he came out back into the public basically and everybody went fucking crazy. But you were definitely his first really major and important relationship.
That he was,
and you guys were so sweet together.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I know you.
That was a
loved
good
him.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I appreciated him.
It was
So,
a good time.
You
took good care of him too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You did.
Yeah,
you did.
It was awesome.
And he took care of me. We took care of each other.
Yeah. The total affinity for each
special.
other. I love that.
100%.
Thank you.
I want to ask now that we're talking about it. How did you meet Hef?
What's funny? The very first time I ever met him, I met a photographer named Leo who was great. He knew that I had this passion to be in Playboy because my mom named me after a Playboy model. Her name was Brandy.
Wow.
She was 9 months pregnant with me, and she went to my uncle's house, and there was this magazine, and she saw it. Her name was Brandy. She's like, I want my daughter to be that beautiful. Anyway, so Leo knew this, and his friend was Elliot. I don't know if you guys remember Elliot, which was one of Hef's really dearest and oldest friends. Yeah. And he said, Elliot can take you up to movie night. And so he brought me up to movie night, and Hef was with Kimberly at the time. But I had told him the story about my mom and how I was named, and he goes, well, let's go look for her. So he brought me to the library. And we went through, this is my first time meeting this guy who I've always had this vision my whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there was just too many magazines, obviously.
Showing you who you were named after.
Yeah.
I mean, this is surreal.
Exactly. So that was
you didn't have a date in a year, so you guys are just going through the forever.
So we were just like looking. He was just so sweet, trying to help me.
I believe in fate. Like that's
that was meant to be.
But then we met again, probably a year or so later, maybe a year later, after, they had already been divorced at a nightclub. And I was there with my friends, and he was there with Heather Kozar and Joel and Allison.
That's right.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, they were looking at me, and I look at, oh my gosh, Heaven. He brought me into the little VIP, and we, reignited and connected and told him who I was. And
cool.
That was
Very
the end
cool.
of it. That was then, we were together for
the rest
over
of
2 years.
But did you right away were you smitten? Did you think what an incredible human being? And the chemistry, all of it.
Totally. And I remember back in the day, we had answering machines, and I remember coming home
and you had
a couple days, and he had a message. Hi, darling, this is Hef. I want to see if I can take you out.
I hope you can.
No, I wish.
It's like you didn't think about it.
Bringing my roommates in there.
That's awesome.
I was all excited, telling everyone, like, listen to this.
How cute.
So isn't that funny to have Hugh Hefner call you and leave a message on your answer machine to ask you out?
Legendary.
No.
And he's such a romantic.
Totally.
I mean, the epitome.
Yep.
Oh, I love that. Yay.
I know. Very cute.
So we know what Brandy's first impression was.
Yes.
And then you, for the first time, really got to sit down with him and have dinner with him and Kimberly. And
exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's just such an icon, and but he's really cool though. Like when you actually sit down and talk with him.
He's easy to have a conversation with.
It's not as scary as you think.
You right away warm, right? Just right away
really
warm and comfortable,
inviting.
Yes,
and so smart and funny and
And remember when we did the 60th? And it was so hot that day, and he came shuffling out to that lawn, and I just remember he turned around and was like, "I love you all," and it meant so much.
That was the last. What do you think? That was the last time that we were all at the the mansion and saw
absolutely.
Hef all together.
But I
for the
felt so
60th
because he was just
anniversary.
shuffling out there,
Yeah.
and it was. But he could truly, I could tell
We have
we were
that
like
picture.
He
so.
loved.
He
yes,
did. He loved us, you know,
Yeah.
and everybody. We were all just like, you know, but because we were all there, like there were
Hey,
60
Kayla,
girls there for him.
Do you have that picture, the group shot of Hef and all the bunnies that you could throw up on the screen? Because it's legendary. Cool.
Legendary.
Legendary.
That was a
Oh
fun
my
time too. That was really
That
special.
was the one and only time I ever wore the bunny suit. And
Me
I was
too.
So
Oh, me
thrilled.
too.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
too?
gosh.
Me too. I'd
Yeah.
never been in a bunny.
You were
I
the
was
white
so
bunny.
sad that
No,
I was a black
couldn't
bunny.
be a
The
bunny.
Corinna
older
was
ones.
the white. We were all the black
like if
bunnies.
you were like a certain year, they were
Well,
black.
Playmate. Well,
Oh, the not- I didn't know
thought it was
that.
Playmate
They
and gold.
said because I
Playmates
remember
were
I was
silver
kind of like, but they
Oh.
said that
Yeah.
the black bunnies
There we
was
go.
an honor
Yeah.
because you were older or whatever. But
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I
That's
never got
such
to
a
put on a
love
bunny
photo.
costume. I'm going to no matter
We're gonna
what.
get our own.
I
It
love
won't be
that
the
photo.
same
I
without
wasn't
Hef.
there. That's
but
Oh,
a
you
great
weren't there.
picture.
It's a great photo,
I
right?
think it was
I
having
wasn't
babies
either.
or something.
Brandy, that was me.
No
The front
way.
row.
No, I had my
Yeah.
daughter and we had things going
no,
on.
No.
Yeah.
Because Stella was 4
She's-
years old already there.
In the front row, they
And
have
our-
all the
our
PMOYs.
Stella
If you
and your
notice
son are
like
the same.
that.
Oh,
It
are
was
you
like,
serious?
I don't know
yeah.
what I was
Yeah, I was
doing then.
surprised that you weren't there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Kayla.
I guess she's trying to act like we were left
So
out.
the context, what? Excuse me?
I love doing that to you. Oh my gosh. So I want to ask, because it is Hef's parties, because we were talking about how legendary they were. I mean, we could sit here for hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours on that alone, aside from so many other legendary things. But Playmate of the Year, how it was a special honor. And since this is Playmate of the Year table,
Yep.
I think I just wanted to ask both of you, you know, do you remember that day and that honor and that
Or
recognition?
was it a blur?
Mine. You know what I liked about mine, because when I had picked, when I became PMOY, it was kind of a big deal because they had never had an African American
Right.
Playmate of the Year.
It was a very
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but I liked it because everybody's like, oh, Hef picked her because she was black. So then,
No, not true.
Yeah, no, but I know, but it was like in 1990.
Yeah.
But he'd actually picked me in January,
Mhm.
but then like in June they had announced Miss America was black, Miss USA was black, and another one was black. So it looked like
yeah,
Hef
Yeah.
had jumped on the bandwagon,
Yeah.
although he picked me before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway, but I liked it because when he jumped up at the party and he said, you know what? He said, I know a lot of people are saying that it looks like I picked an African American because it was the right thing.
Right.
Or he goes,
Right.
to just jump on the bandwagon. He goes, but you know what? He's like, I'm ashamed it took me 35 years to do it.
Oh, I
And
love
he
that
said,
told you that.
so you know what?
Good for
And
him.
then after that, like when he jumped up there, and I just was so proud. And then after that, there's always been an African American featured in, because before me, Ola Ray was the last one, which was in 81. So there was like an 8 or 9 year stint with no
Interesting.
African Americans. They were getting a lot of heat
Uh-huh.
for that. So then when I came along, but he's like, it's got to be the right girl. It's got to be the right girl. And African American women weren't doing the submissions because he said there was like, when I was talking to Arnie, he's like, there's some sort of a stigma with posing nude.
Really?
He goes, so they couldn't, the submission rate was really
They
low.
just,
And so
women
he
just
said,
weren't
when you
submitting.
came along, you were like the first one that Hef was like, cool, this one
And
fits the
fit the
criteria.
bill,
Yeah,
like-
and fit the bill.
And
Yeah.
we all know Hef would never jump on a bandwagon.
Yeah,
Hef did
exactly.
what
But
he
then,
wanted to do, not for
so
the
that's
sake
what
of
I
anybody
remember the
else.
most, because
Saw.
he just validated me to be like, you know what, it's not because she's black, it's because I wanted her.
Yeah.
So it made me feel
Yep.
special. You know?
Yeah.
So
Very
that's what I
much
remember
so.
the most.
And
That's
for,
awesome.
for the audience that don't, you know, maybe listening for the first time, don't even really know the history of Playboy. Renee Tenison is a twin, an identical twin.
Yep.
They look so much alike, and I
They do? They're
No,
identical?
They're
and they look
identical
alike?
and they look
Weird.
so much alike. I know. It's profound. You wouldn't
Very
think so.
profound.
Them being identical and everything. But now Rosie didn't want to post.
Yeah,
She
what's
didn't.
the-
She regretted it because
Yeah.
I remember I asked her. I said, "Hey,
You could have
girl,"
been
I was like, you know, I got this opportunity to go do Playboy, and I was like, "What do you think?" You know, I was like, "We should do it."
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh no," and I was like,
Oh, no.
What do you mean?" She's like, "Everybody's gonna think you're a sleaze." And I remember I was like, "What?"
That's what she said.
I was like, "All right." I was like,
Oh my
"Whatever."
gosh.
I was like, you know what? I was like, if that's what they think. Oh well.
Oh, well.
I was like, I'm gonna go
Right,
do it
yeah.
anyway. I said, sleaze or not, I'm
Yeah.
going to Chicago.
Awesome.
I said,
Yeah.
and then it just turned out so great. But then, you know, 10 years later, Hef was like, I really want
Yeah.
to get you guys. And he went and
Of
made
course,
it right.
yeah.
Was like, I would have, then we did the pictorial together.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
That
which
was a gorgeous
huge.
picture.
So that was
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
PMOY story.
Yeah, I love it. And what about you, Brandy? What do you? Well, for you, you were probably right there. Or did you get?
Wait,
I
actually have a question about the parties. Do you think that they were themed around like your personality, the PMOY parties, your luncheon, around your personality, your layout? Because each one I went to was uniquely different.
I think they were all the
very
same.
similar.
Really?
They
No,
always
they
had
were
the
similar.
same.
They were different.
Right?
Yeah.
They were
Lacey,
different.
Lacey
They were
knows. They
different.
had all the white lattice with all the flowers.
Really?
It was
I
always
could've
the same.
Yeah.
It was
The
always
pink
the
flowers,
same
the
white
pink-
lattice.
the
with
big
the
Maybe I'm thinking about
flowers.
the
Yeah, the
pictures
big
were
flowers.
different.
Those pictures were
Yes.
Ding, ding,
Echo.
ding.
It was different
Playmates
than
was
years.
different.
The PMOY was
Oh,
different.
my bad.
Every
See?
year.
You were just looking at the pictures, like,
We're pretty
wow.
smart here.
I wasn't.
Yes, we've just figured it. We've solved all the
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
in the world.
Okay, now it's very clear. Thank you. That's
But
funny.
Yeah.
there were unique in that every girl was unique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Because I remember tons of playmates from decades past came to mind, and my whole family was there, and it was very interesting. You know, do you remember that day, Brandy? Like,
Yeah,
day.
I mean, it was exciting.
Huge.
My grandma was there,
Aw,
my aunt and
cute.
uncle, of course, my parents, my brother and his wife, and my little niece in her belly. But it was a very special day. I remember being extremely nervous about the speech. You know,
Oh,
we had to
God,
give
yeah.
a speech.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my God,
Oh,
nerve wracking. But it was a very special day. I had a great time.
but did you read a poem?
Poem. Did you?
read a poem? Yes.
Why?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's funny. I laugh about these things because I was anyway. I was
That's
a baby.
great. That's beautiful.
I was a baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were you
So you're like, I'm going
she
to read
was
a poem.
no, I look
Yeah.
at Renee, I look at Lisa Matthews,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
look at Brandy,
I was
and
older.
I look at myself and I'm like, what the hell? What were they thinking? And whoever put my outfit together, it was just wrong.
It was just.
I think of every Playmate of the Year, not to bring this up,
How
but
old were
just an
both of you
interesting
when you
tid-
shot? Because she was 18.
I was 19, or I
Okay,
was
so
19
you-
when I
so
became
you were a-
PMOY. I was
yeah, you
young.
were a baby.
I was
You were young.
25. And
So you were definitely a bit older, which is better in my opinion because I too
Yeah.
was 18 and
Oh
it
my
was way
gosh,
too
yes.
young.
I was
Yeah.
either 25 or I might have been 26. I think
That's
I was-
the perfect age to do Playboy.
Something
Yeah,
like
mid
that.
20s.
So
Yeah,
if
for
I
sure.
knew, well, Brandy and I earlier were talking about if we only knew now what we knew then,
Yeah.
or right,
Well,
realize
what I was saying is like
the
the
power.
power that we had back then.
I
If
know.
only like when you're young, you don't think about that power. You're just still kind of a little insecure and this and that.
You
And I
could
think
have,
back,
you could have been unstoppable.
girlfriend, you know, you could have
Exactly.
done with
Oh
that
my
power.
goodness.
Because also I was the very first Baywatch babe to ever be Playmate of the Year. Like there were
Oh,
a million
yeah.
Playmates.
Yeah, you're
Playmates on
right.
Baywatch,
Right,
but
right.
not Playmate of the Year. So I was the first,
Yes.
Playmate of the Year to be Baywatch, whatever. So there was just at the same time, like that
Perfect
power.
timing.
Are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
kidding
Perfect
me?
timing.
Yeah.
skyrocket.
Like, I
you know,
really
you think of so
knew
many
that,
things.
You know, you
Yeah.
could talk to your younger self. You know.
Oh, believe you me,
Yeah.
I was terrified of everything. And, you know, I represented well. You remember going and doing all of the promotions and the things that we were, I mean, do you remember things like, I want to know your story. I'm not going to talk about me, but I got a police escort at one point
Yeah.
in a limo
Mhm.
before. Imagine if we had social media then and the police, like I was
Yeah.
the president. And I was,
Right.
I remember,
Right.
do you remember those
Oh,
times?
yeah.
But you were at the Indy 500.
Oh, yeah.
Of
But
course
still,
you got.
I mean, we were able to
Oh,
go
yeah.
and do these incredible
Mm.
things.
We were celebrities back then. The difference
yes, it was a
between
big deal.
when we did Playboy, like the Playmates were actually
Mhm.
really
Celebrities.
famous because, like,
Yeah.
you know, you had Pamela, you had Anna Nicole, you had like, so there was a celebrity
in the
that was
90s.
attached with
And,
Playboy.
In the- yeah, in the 90s and the-
celebrities in the 90s really loved
They
Playmates.
did.
Mhm.
All the way, you know.
I mean, you know, who
I have
would
to
go
say,
to
I
the
think
parties.
Yeah,
Playboy
yeah,
just
exactly.
totally like fell off after you were Playmate of the Year. I have to say.
It ended with Brandy,
It
and
did.
that's why we have her
Of
here.
course it did.
It was like
Oh my
that was it. The best of the best of the
downhill
best.
now.
Years for
Oh my
sure.
goodness.
Yeah,
It was
it
definitely-
started kind of being like,
Do you think Hef's eyesight was getting
Yeah,
bad then? I'm just
diminishing
kid-
at
I'm
that point.
totally joking. God forgive me. That was wrong.
Half we love you. We know you're here with us. It was just a joke.
was wrong. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, we were lucky because we did not have the paparazzi
Yes.
and all of that.
And social media and all
Exactly.
that shit.
That's why
Yep.
the parties were so
They were
amazing.
legendary.
Oh my
No, they
goodness.
were
Every
epic.
celebrity you
Everybody
could
was there.
imagine was there. Now you
Leo.
couldn't do that.
And you
Leo,
didn't,
George
everybody,
Clooney,
Spielberg, everybody,
privacy.
everybody was at these parties.
You know what I loved
Everybody.
about Hef? Privacy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
Yes.
big
That's the
deal. And respect.
Yeah.
And we don't have privacy and respect anymore.
And he
could
wasn't
do
exploiting
anything back in
anybody.
those
He
days.
wasn't trying to go
No.
get like, oh, look what this celebrity did.
No,
They would
you're
actually
at
go there
home
and have
here.
fun. Yeah.
Kick your feet up.
Be safe.
And it wasn't what people thought.
Yeah.
I have so many people, oh, it was orgies and this and that.
I
I'm like, are
know.
you kidding me? It was some of the most prolific people.
I
You could
know,
have
yeah.
some of the most incredible conversations with people. I mean, I'm sure when I say that, we have people wouldn't believe who was there.
Yeah.
It really was epic. It was epic.
Everybody.
Speaking of like the privacy and the parties and how amazing and over the top they were. So we had interviewed the Butlers when we first started this back in May, and the show got erased, unfortunately, but they're coming back in.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
But it was really, really interesting to interview the Butlers and have that
Yeah.
Oh, the behind the
POV.
scenes.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
like we can talk about it because we spent a lot of time there, but I learned even that much more. And the most interesting story I think that was shared was somebody had come in to do a shoot of the interior of the mansion for like an architectural digest or architectural magazine or something. And so they had to clean up Hef's room. And Hef's room was just stocked with like, he
Stuffed
collected
animals
stuff
everywhere.
Yeah. And
had
so
just
they had
come
to
into the
literally
fold.
go in there with Polaroid and take a Polaroid of every part of the room and take everything out, clear it out
Wait,
for them to
he
shoot
let
it.
them do that?
Yeah.
That was the only way it would be done. And then they had to put it all back.
Wow.
We're learning this more and
But
more
why
because
would
we
they
didn't
even
know him
take
like
his
you
personal
did.
stuff out? Because you think that's why they would want it.
Yeah, but it doesn't look good when it was
For
so
Architectural
cluttered like that. So
Digest,
they wanted
yeah.
to actually like show like the house.
Actual
But
architecture.
yes,
of,
the
like, all
architectural
the
without
wood.
any,
Yeah.
without all of
Speaking
his
of that, of
papers
the
and-
interior of
Yes.
the mansion
Yeah.
or the decor,
Mhm.
which, it was certainly always a question I had going back, 20 years later. I was like, why the hell did they still have this damn carpet here that is just worn the hell out? And so
he did
nothing
not
was ever
change.
changed.
Brandy
No,
would
but
know
no,
this.
it was.
It was?
Every couple of years, but it was the same exact carpet they put in.
No
this is
So
a
they just
way.
kept taking
I
out the
didn't
green
know that.
carpet and
Looked
putting
like it was
green
the
carpet in.
same. Wow.
No change.
Yeah.
But so at least it was replaced. Well, now we learned
Now
something
we learned
new.
something new.
No, it was always new. Like even the orange this, the green that. It was just replaced.
Yeah.
Well,
with
thank
the
you for
same-
telling me
Wow.
that because I really got
Yeah.
kind of icked out.
That blows me
no,
away.
No, all brand new,
Yeah.
but it just was the
The
same.
same, exact same.
Yeah,
But what a
fascinating.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful piece of property. I
Yeah.
mean, my God, that was
Barbie
just...
Benton found it for him.
I know.
Remember?
Yes.
Barbie.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The animals.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Did you know,
I know. I
and
still
you probably
love
did
them.
know this, Hef being a huge philanthropist, he had a zoo license at the mansion. I think it's the only one in the
The only
city
one in
of
Beverly
Yeah.
Hills.
LA.
Oh.
LA.
period.
And the
Yeah.
entire
Of
LA.
LA,
you're
right? Lacey?
wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and then he actually he gave a lot to zoos and foundations all around the world, and actually got a bunch of those animals from different zoos and brought them to the mansion.
Oh,
We just
which
found
they were
this
like
out.
rescues.
Yeah, how cool
Which
is
is
that?
what's fascinating to me because here's Brandy, who knew him very well, but he never. We're noticing
never-
this about him.
yeah, he's
he would
never
never
like,
let
I
his
did
right
this or I
hand see
did
what his
that.
left
No.
hand's
Never,
doing.
yeah.
He would never
Right.
brag. He would never say, "Oh, I'm giving and I'm doing
Never.
this."
No.
I didn't know he
He
did
was
all this
so
stuff for civil
humble.
rights.
Right.
I didn't know any of it.
He was like a
Huge.
leader
I
in
get
civil
goosebumps.
rights.
You didn't know
literally-
that?
No, I did.
Wow,
When I did
yeah.
Playboy,
Wow.
they'd asked me to. Vic Bullock was doing something, some kind of a show, and he asked me to do a part of it. And so I went to this premiere, but I literally was blown away.
When you
Yeah.
'Cause
found
he
that
was like
out.
he
Yeah.
was with
Yeah.
like Martin Luther King. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was like doing segregation.
Yep.
He lit
Yep.
like that man. He really truly
Front
took.
lines.
Yeah, he was front lines, and he took a
Yeah.
stand for
Yep.
equality with
Yep.
African.
Yeah.
That was so good about
Yeah.
our issue
Yeah.
because I felt like he would have been like
Well,
right on.
that's where
Excited
all
about
his
it.
all his donations went to.
Yeah.
That's what he donated for everything with civil rights.
And
That
even
was
for
his
women
thing.
too. For
Oh,
us,
oh,
all
equal
sexual
rights
rights,
for
all
everything.
both.
He
If
was
you
a
think
total
about it, it was
feminist.
for
He was-
women,
Yep.
No,
and
all
also
civil
too
rights.
for equality
Yep.
on both fronts.
Exactly.
For women to be
Yep.
treated equal with
Yep.
sexism and all that stuff, and empowering women. He
Yep.
probably did the most for us because he.
That's
And
I was
First
in
Amendment
my
rights.
college. I was in
Yeah.
FITM, and they were doing a class on American history, and they went off JFK, and then they went off Martin Luther King. And then there was a whole thing about Hef
Nice.
in the college books. And he sparked the sexual revolution. And I was like going, wow, I can't believe I know this guy. That's in this freaking history book.
Well, this is why we are doing this show. Because you don't,
people don't know.
They have no
don't
idea
know.
about
And he
the
should be
history
honored
behind
for
it.
those things because those things made a difference.
For women. For women. And that's what this guy was like. This guy, he made it okay for women to have an orgasm. He made it okay for women to own it. He
helped marriages.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like,
so many marriages were.
Do you know what he said? Remember when we interviewed Jim Peterson? So Jim Peterson was a staff writer for the company for 20, 30 years, right? And he worked in the Chicago offices, and he was young in his 20s, and Hef came to him and he said, I want you to go out there and write from your POV about the sexual revolution. And so he was hands-on. He went into all the clubs and the orgy clubs and the, $1 for a lick and
really
and traveled around the world and to be able to write about it.
And during the AIDS pandemic, when everyone was afraid of AIDS.
And then he's the one that wrote the book, The Sexual Revolution, and Playboy's responsibility for it. And by far, that has been the most fascinating interview so far that we have done.
I bet.
I mean, we are learning so much, you guys.
He was really great. I mean, greatness, but people don't even get it.
Yeah.
No, even I was kind of, I was like, I'm just happy to know him. I was so happy and honored.
One of the few, there are a few icons. He was an icon and a fixture in American history that you can say, and that's Playmates, and we're all honored.
Yeah.
But aside, I mean, with the writers and the art and all of it, I mean,
just everything. I mean, it can go on
and the way
talk about
it all
a legacy.
Went
Yeah, he left an amazing legacy.
Well, he did, but I think it's being shattered, and that's why we are doing this show.
We don't like this cancel
We don't
stuff.
like the stuff that's happening.
This cancel stuff.
So we're going to ask a couple more questions, and then we've got to let you ladies go. So I'm going to start with in 2016. The Playboy that exists today did a complete makeover from bottom to top that included Playboy.com to be a work-friendly site that you could pull up, and then yanking nudity from the magazine, right? So when you saw all this go down, what did you ladies think? Brandy, let's start with you.
I don't know. I don't know if I know what you're talking about.
So Playboy, the magazine.
I don't even know where we are right now.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Where am I?
So in 2016, shortly after Hef had died, and the company had already been sold previously, several years before he passed. Whoever was running the company, I don't know, they decided it'd be a good idea to do a complete overhaul of the magazine from bottom to top, including Playboy.com being a user-friendly site that you could pull up at work, right down to let's not do nudity in the magazine anymore.
I thought they were so off the mark with that.
It was so bizarre
to the fans, to everybody that
it's
read.
What?
They let everybody down by taking his thing and
right.
It was
a
no sense.
disappointment.
Like what?
Wow.
Yeah. Right. So when they brought it back, I was like, okay, that they obviously realized that didn't work. So
and then
they finally brought back nudity again.
They should have just left it alone. And I truly,
travesty for whoever took that over.
I know why they did it. It was because I told them to.
Corinna was in their ear. She's like, you listen here.
I'm like, there's no more damn nudity. What the hell? Let's go back.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm telling you, it was a PR move that they thought would get attention. Like what? Yeah. And it was
backfired.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
No.
So one of our favorite things that we've been doing with each guest that's come on the show is we've finished the show with 2 questions. The first one is
3 words to describe Hef. First, we'll ask.
Oh. Wow. It can be anything. Brandy?
Gracious.
Very good.
Giving. Lovable.
I love that.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'd say generous.
Yeah.
Loving and inspiring.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yep.
If you could say something to him, thinking of
in memoriam.
Yeah.
Had you had the chance?
Yes. What would you say to Hef about what your life has been like
your
and how
experience.
I would thank him from the bottom of my heart for that opportunity for this farm girl out of Idaho, and just thank him because that opportunity, not only did it change my life, it changed my whole family's life. So it changed my brother's life. It changed my twin sister's life. It changed my whole entire, not only did he change my life, it changed everyone's life around me because of that opportunity he gave me, which he believed in me, so I would just say, thank you so much for giving me that opportunity and that blessing, because without that, God knows what I would have been doing, but I'm living my dream thanks to that man, because he put me in like an opportunity. So I'm just
that's been
forever grateful.
Yeah,
forever
that's been
grateful.
the common remark from
Beautiful.
everybody is just, they're like, how do you even say that? And everybody just goes, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like,
What
what would
about
you say?
What about you, Brand?
And
Like, what would I
did
say
you
to
get
him
a
now?
chance?
Like, if I could say one thing
Yeah.
to
No,
him?
like if you
or-
knew him when he was passing, if you had that time that you actually got to see him face to face or talk to him, and did you? I mean, you
I did.
right?
I think.
Okay.
I mean,
Good.
I'm
You
thankful
you
that I
probably
got to.
We didn't get.
settled.
Well, I feel like I didn't get
I didn't know,
a proper
but yeah.
send off, and
Yeah.
it makes me sad. So I love to hear
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, I mean, of course, mine would be the thankful thing as well. Because,
And I love you, and you know, thank you for the ride.
I mean, I would say if I could say something now to him, I would say, "I love you, honey bunny."
Aww. Aww.
And now to
Yeah.
plug everything. We hate
Yeah.
to rush like this. This show-
Now we're gonna go into the plugging.
We're gonna have you guys back. I'm telling you. Yeah, because
Yeah,
we're
we're
not
gonna
gonna
have to
damn
do-
cry again. I'm
we're
not
gonna-
crying.
We're gonna have to do a much longer.
But Brandy,
segment.
we didn't go on and on about all of these. I mean, your boutique, I didn't even realize Brandy had written this incredible book. I will read it.
So let's start
Didn't
with
even
you,
read-
Brandy. Show us. Wait,
Well,
you
we
got
should-
some
yeah,
wine here
we
too.
should start
Let's
with
pour
this
it.
because
Yeah.
we're hot and this is cold.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
let's
hot
pour
in
that.
here, y'all.
Please.
It is
here,
hot in
I'll
here.
help you.
Okay, I moved to
We're
Temecula.
gonna taste Brandy's
And
wine. She's a vintner.
I started a vineyard on my property. And
That's your
fun.
property. How cool.
so I'm doing a
right?
rosé, and I also have Pinot Grigio, which I sell. This Pinot Grigio, this is my boyfriend's winery, Robert Renzoni. But these are my grapes, but I sell them to him. Yeah,
Right on.
so it's from
That
my
is
property.
so rad that
That's
you
so
started on your
beautiful.
property. Good
Yeah.
for you, baby.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
No, you don't get any. Nope. Nope.
How dry I am.
Okay. There you go.
And then I'm also doing a rosé. So
I love my rosé
Yeah.
all day.
Ooh,
anywho,
this is
so
wonderful.
yeah, this is just fun.
I
ladies, you
love
want
a
some?
good
No?
Pinot Grigio,
Mm.
and this smells fabulous.
Really tasty.
What is
Yeah.
it
Well,
called,
sweet.
Brandy?
Little-
What is
Very
your
good.
wine? Where can
And
people
where do we buy
purchase
it?
your wine?
This one you just go to his winery at Robert Renzoni, and then
Robert
it's in all
Renzoni.
the restaurants in
Okay.
Temecula also. But yeah, yeah, and then my rosé will be out, and I'll be selling that
And
everywhere.
then you've got your book right
Yay.
here too.
yeah, bounce don't
And
break.
I had no idea you written a book either.
You know what's fun about this? When Playboy was still around, they gave this to all the new Playmates. So this was like their
that's
little
amazing.
their little
Wow.
guidebook.
That's a
which
good
was,
one.
You know,
and
that was
an encouragement
awesome.
to show what you can
Yeah.
do. You know,
Yeah.
that you
Success.
can't. Yes,
Yeah.
success.
Mhm.
It's just, a guide to life, love, and success, and showing what you can do, thinking
Congrats.
outside the
That's
box, and
great.
going after what you want and what you
Yeah.
or what your dreams are.
And where can people get that?
Amazon or where would you get yours? Yeah, Amazon,
Amazon.
wherever. Barnes and Noble. Yeah.
And Miss Renee, let's hear about that boutique.
I have a
And
clothing
Rena
store.
is
Thank you,
coming
thank
to
you.
And we're gonna
Yes, I'm gonna
dressed
outfit
by
you, ladies.
She has
Oh
the
my
cutest
goodness.
Yes,
stuff.
I'm gonna
in
outfit
her-
you, ladies.
her shop.
Yes.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, so we have two locations, one in the Westfields, Sherman Oaks, and one in the Westfields, Topanga Village. And you can go to
Fancy.
barterstore.com. It also has stuff, but it's just fun. It's kind
I
of
love the
vintage
name
inspired.
Barda.
It's inspired by Alberta
I
Vargas.
love
this
Yes.
dress.
Yes, but it's kind of got that vintage feel. It's not, the stuff's not vintage, but it's kind of like that pencil skirts
Throwback.
and sexy
Yeah.
stuff and
I
can't
corsets.
wait.
And yeah, so it's
Love
really
that.
fun, really sexy. And I want to outfit you ladies because it'll be
Absolutely.
amazing. You'll love it.
Please.
I have to
yes,
share.
Yes,
Please.
If you're going to
Love
events,
it.
let me know.
Yeah,
I've outfitted a couple Playmates.
I have to
nice.
share funny. Just yesterday morning, I was actually showing my 10-year-old daughter your site. I pulled it up, and she's like so fashion forward. I'm like, God, I'm always amazed by her. But I was showing her the corsets, and she looks at me. She goes, "Mom, I just really wish that they would make corsets for like big women because there's women of all sizes." And I was like, "I love you."
Right
So when I go,
on.
"You
Yeah.
do."
That's right.
I promise you they do.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
goes through my suitcase when I'm
Yeah.
visiting.
Oh, yeah,
and
she's like,
she'll
"What's that?"
model my clothes, and I'm having
Little
I'm like,
fashionista.
And she'll put together
Totally. She's so
shoes
cute.
with some right. She's like, these shoes actually go, and she's spot on. I'm like, those do.
So
do go with that much better.
the URL is Varga
Vargastore.com.
Vargastore.com.
Yeah.
Okay. And you? What do you have to promote over here,
I'm
Missy?
not promoting anything. You just made me do this. I'm just sitting here enjoying
Let's
these
do a
beautiful
toast then.
humans.
I am so grateful for you ladies.
Oh, thank
Thank
you
you
for having
guys.
us.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, God
You guys
bless
are doing
you.
right by Hef and Playboy, and he would be so proud of you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank
We
you,
know that
Renee.
we have
Thank
his
you
blessing
for
and he
that.
is here
He
with
would.
us.
He'd be
and-
so
and
proud.
Thank you.
He's watching right now. So
Yeah,
to
Tess.
have-
Thank you so much.
For the
Yes,
gifts and the
thank
blessings.
you.
Amen.
Yes, they are.
That's so good to give us good, good PR and
Yes,
just good everything. So
yes,
people
yes.
hear this stuff
Yes,
that
yeah.
people don't
No,
hear.
because
you know what I
he
mean?
would have never tooted his own
Yeah,
horn.
that's what I'm saying. Like I would toot it for him.
Yeah.
So
We're
it's really
tooting.
nice.
We're
Yeah.
tooting.
Hey, he wants us to toot his horn.
We're tooting. Believe me, guys. He's so glad all of us are tooting his horn right
He's
now.
like, right on. He's like, right on. Those are my girls, right?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
good. This is good wine.
I wish
love
it was
It is
colder,
so
but
good. I
yeah.
think this is one, and I'm not. This is one of the best Pinot.
I know.
Grigios.
You know, it doesn't have a
delicious.
bite. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Beautiful.
Very great grapes. Your
Yeah.
grapes are good.
Yeah.
All right,
But-
ladies, it is time to
Dryer,
say
right?
au
How you make
revoir
it good.
and farewell.
Are we? Is she
I'm-
still recording?
I'm Echo. Who are you?
Corinna.
And this is
The,
the Bunny Chronicles. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.